This is the story of a man who fought for his life in the world's biggest and deadliest ocean, the Pacific, for more than 400 days. He created a world record by surviving 14 months at sea and even returned alive. But as soon as he came back, something unexpected happened. Let's dive into the full story. The Pacific Ocean is the largest and most dangerous ocean on Earth. Out of the planet's 71% water surface, the Pacific alone covers about 148 million square kilometers. It's so massive that if you put all the land areas together, the Pacific would still be larger. Most islands in this ocean are tiny, and some are so remote that no human has ever stepped on them. That's why if someone goes missing in the Pacific, finding them is almost impossible. The man who survived in this ocean for 14 months was José Salvador Alvarenga. He had only a small 7-foot boat, so small that he couldn't even lie down properly inside. Yet he managed to live on it for over a year, battling storms, hunger, thirst, and loneliness. This story began in 2012. José, a 36-year-old fisherman from a small village in Mexico, went out fishing with a friend on November 17, 2012. It was a routine trip. They planned to be back in 30 hours. Their boat was small, with just one engine, and a cooler for fish. That day, they set out about 120 kilometers from the coast, casting their nets in the ocean. But suddenly, they noticed a violent storm approaching. They quickly abandoned their fishing nets and pushed the boat to full speed, trying to escape. For 6 hours, they fought against the winds and waves. They were only 20 kilometers away from shore when disaster struck. The boat's engine broke down. They could still see land, and their village was right there. They used a radio to send their location to their boss, then waited for help. But their luck was against them. The radio's battery died, and before they knew it, the storm had caught up. Powerful winds pushed their boat further away from land. In a short time, the coastline disappeared completely, and massive waves carried them deeper into the Pacific. By the time their boss received their message, it was too late. A search party was sent, but José's boat was already drifting farther and farther. Within just 5 days, the storm had carried them 450 kilometers away from land. With such a tiny boat, and no flares or fire signals, it was almost impossible for anyone to find them. Struggle for food and water. After just a few days at sea, their food supplies were gone. They had no fishing nets anymore because they had left them behind during the storm. Both men were starving, with no way to catch fish. Then, one day, a bird landed on their small boat. Hungry and desperate, they tried to catch it but failed. A little later, another bird came. This time, they made a plan and finally caught it. That bird became their first meal after days without food. From then on, whenever birds landed on their boat, they would catch and eat them to survive. Drinking seawater would kill them, so they started collecting rainwater in plastic bottles. When there was no rain, they had no choice but to drink the blood of turtles or fish, if they managed to catch any. The days turned into weeks, and the weeks into months. The mental torture was unbearable. Imagine being stuck in the middle of the ocean with no land, no people, and only endless water around you. After about 4 months, José's friend could not handle the suffering anymore. Weak, hungry, and hopeless, he gave up and died by suicide. Now, José was all alone on the tiny boat, surrounded by nothing but water. Still, he kept fighting for survival, false hope, and endless loneliness. Months passed, and José kept drifting deeper into the Pacific Ocean. According to maps, the area where he was lost is one of the quietest parts of the ocean. Almost no ships pass by except for the occasional cargo vessel. More than 6 months had gone by since he last saw the shores of Mexico. He had lost his friend, his body was weak, and his mind was full of despair. Then one day, after half a year, José finally saw a cargo ship in the distance. For the first time in months, his heart filled with hope. He screamed, waved, and tried everything he could to get their attention. But the ship was too far away. No one saw him. Slowly, the ship disappeared from his sight. Imagine this. After 6 months alone in the ocean, you finally see another human sign of life, but they don't see you. The pain of watching that ship vanish was almost unbearable. José thought maybe death was his only destiny, but somehow, he kept going. By the 11th month, he had already drifted more than 8,000 kilometers in his small boat. His clothes were torn apart, and the only thing left on his body to protect him from the burning sun was an old undershirt. The miracle escape and rescue. Finally, after 14 long months at sea, luck was on José's side. On January 30th, 2014, day 439, he noticed coconuts floating in the water and birds flying nearby. He immediately realized that land must be close. Soon, he spotted a small island in the distance. With all his remaining strength, he guided his rio boat toward it. After nearly half a day, he got close enough to jump into the water and swim. At last, after more than a year of endless struggle, he touched solid ground again. That island was called Ebon Atoll, one of the smallest islands in the world. By pure miracle, the ocean currents had carried his little boat toward it. If the waves had shifted even slightly, he might have missed it completely and drifted thousands of kilometers further, likely to his death. On the island, José found a small house. Soon, a local man appeared. After 14 months, it was the first time José saw another human being. Overwhelmed with emotion, he burst into tears. His story quickly reached the local authorities, and the police came to question him. José told them everything, but at first, nobody believed it. How could someone survive 438 days in the ocean on such a tiny boat? It sounded impossible. To prove his identity, José gave them the number of his boss, the man who had sent him fishing in Mexico. His boss confirmed the story. Yes, José had gone missing more than a year ago. Since he had arrived in another country without a visa, he was kept for some legal formalities. After a short while, he was sent back to Mexico, but José's troubles didn't end there. The aftermath, case, book, and life lesson. When José returned to Mexico, people everywhere were shocked by his unbelievable survival story. But instead of peace, a new problem started. The family of his friend, the man who had died during the journey, filed a case against him. They accused José of killing his companion and even eating him to survive. It was a painful accusation, but after investigation, there was no proof. Eventually, the court released him. Sometime later, José published a book called 438 Days, where he described every detail of his survival, how he fought hunger, thirst, loneliness, storms, and despair. His story became world famous. In the end, José unknowingly created a world record, surviving 438 days at sea on a small boat. Till today, no one has ever broken that record, and probably no one will even dare to try. His story is a reminder for all of us. No matter how dark life gets, no matter how hopeless things seem, there is always a way to survive, as long as you keep fighting.